There we go. Welcome into the program this afternoon. Appreciate you guys checking out the show, fresh off of ACC kickoff and the rest of the college football world all over the place today. I got some comments that we're going to get to about some stuff or some commentary. There you go. There's the word on some of the stuff that's going on. If you'd like to join us, I'm going to put the link over here so you guys can see it. Obviously, we're open to that. I couldn't take calls yesterday at ACC kickoff because I was using my phone because of just the way the day shook out. But if you want to respond to the stuff we put together yesterday, including the interview that I put up with the NC State quarterback that they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, or he's plays with a chip on his shoulder and he chose NC State because they're a program with a chip on their shoulder. Um, yeah, I thought that was interesting. That's the reason that he decided to go to NC State. So there's that. All right, if you want to talk about that, we can. South Carolina lost a recruit today or yesterday. Malik Cook, I believe was his name. He said something along the lines of, I'm not sure I give you the exact quote here because it was kind of interesting. Hi, Mike. How are you? Let's see here. Malik Cook yesterday. What was it he said to the rival site? Something, or was it Malik Clark? That's his name, Malik Clark. And they're calling it a shocker on 247 Sports, but he said that the energy here's the thing. He said that the energy in Tallahassee is what he needs right now. Now, if you're a South Carolina fan, you see that, I don't think you want to deal with that. Remember, Florida State had the issues where the entire team quit on them and none of them decided to play against Georgia in their game, their New Year's Six bowl game. None of the players that were out there that led them to their perfect season decided to play. And the culture down there is, well, we want to play, but we want to play in the games that we want to play, in games that actually matter. And when you tell us that we can't play in those games because of the injury to our quarterback, etc., screw you, we're just not going to show up. That's the culture at Florida State now. It's what it is. That's why Georgia beat them 63-3. So the culture there, the energy there, is what Malik Clark, their wide receiver from Rock Hill, that's what he says is one of the reasons that he's going to Tallahassee. Now, he could be telling us something just to, I don't know, stir up the stuff here. It could be that he got a bigger NIL deal to go to Florida State. It could be maybe South Carolina didn't put up enough NIL money to get him to stay in state. But we talked about this the other day, and if you follow along here on the program, you'll notice a couple of things. I mentioned this the other day. You can, in the grand scheme of things, it's what, 90 miles at most from Clemson to Rock Hill? Not even 100 miles. And the Clemson program didn't offer him. Now, it could be what I said the other day that maybe Tyler Gresham is an idiot. That's feasible because he hasn't really done much as far as turning out great wide receivers that have been helping the Clemson quarterbacks here lately. But maybe, just maybe, something's going on up there that they're like, maybe that's not the kind of guy that we want. Could be some of that too. But in the end, it is a travesty that I'll even throw Coastal Carolina into the mix. You have what, three schools that play. One of them is a group of 5 team. The other 2 are, I guess, Power 4 teams now. And they couldn't get a 4-star player to stay in state. That's kind of sad to an extent. It really is. They're calling it a shocker as they land 4-star wide receiver Malik Clark to head down to Florida State. I, on the other hand, think it's just silly. that you couldn't convince this guy to come here. But I'm still wondering, why was this guy not offered by Clemson? He was offered by everybody else, but not Clemson. I wonder what was going on there. By the way, we mentioned that game with Florida State where they basically trotted out a bunch of walk-ons. I think it was Dabo Sweeney said yesterday at ACC kickoff that with basically the elimination of walk-ons, because now you can have up to 105 scholarship players. So the idea of being a walk-on a football team is gone. The idea of what Dabo Sweeney was, which was a walk-on at Alabama, is gone. Every player will be on a scholarship in the next, 2 years? I think. I can't remember the timeline on that. But the way that it works out, and Sweeney mentioned this yesterday, and he said, Mike Norvell would not have been able to put out a team against Georgia if he didn't have walk-ons. I'm laughing because it's not like they really put out a team anyway. They lost by 60 points. But hey, your walk-ons wouldn't be out there for that. So if you guys want to talk about that, I'd be happy to go on that for just a minute here. But yeah, the walk-on things is gone. Jay with another comment. Without walk-ons, the world would never know the greatest CFB quarterback of all time, Stetson Bennett. Yes. Yes. Big Barney Ross says Mark Stoop needs money today or he won't be able to play. Western Union, the fastest way to send money. There's that too. And I've seen some folks running their mouths on Twitter about the stuff with Georgia. And what was it? Ra Thomas? The whole thing that went on with that. I'm Googling to make sure I give you the exact story on that. But yeah, so according to the AJC, which, sometimes they put out stuff that's good. Some according to Georgia fans, if it's pro Georgia, they love the AJC. But if it's not, then they're like the AJC's out to get us, which is funny. Tim says 105 scholarships is going back to the Bear Bryant era. Okay. Anyway, Georgia wide receiver Ra Thomas is being held without bond today after police accused him of domestic violence against his child, according to the Athens Clark County Police. Thomas turns 22 on Sunday, was charged with second-degree cruelty to children, which is a felony, and 2 counts of battery, both of which are misdemeanors. 1:34 a.m., police were called to the 300 block of Mill Creek Way on report of a domestic violence, according to a police lieutenant. Thomas was arrested at the scene and booked into jail at 3:20 a.m. this morning. Because the incident involved a juvenile, police declined to release further details. The magistrate courthouse remained closed Friday following a. Oh, wait a minute. After I'm not laughing at the fact of what happened here. This headline's great. The Clark County Magistrate Courthouse remained closed Friday following a bedbug infestation. So this motherfucker can't go to bond court because of the bedbugs. That's real. Any bond hearing for jail when it would take place at the jail. Okay, so they moved bond court to the jailhouse. Neither his attorney nor the University of Georgia would comment on the case. Thomas has been arrested on a family violence charge during this time in Georgia at least once more. In January of last year, after transferring to Mississippi State, he was arrested on a misdemeanor count of family violence and a felony count of false imprisonment. Yeah. Okay, so both the charges were dropped in March, entering a pretrial diversion program. So Ra Thomas has had issues before, and it's one of those things where it's not like Kirby Smart has not given him a chance. So let's make sure we put that out there before we just say, oh, okay, you beat the hell out of your kid, you beat the hell out of your wife. We're still going to honor your scholarship and keep you here, but you better do well. Because apparently Kirby Smart did that, but apparently reading him the riot act down there doesn't work. So I bring to you today, with all the stuff that's happened with Georgia under Kirby Smart, and I say all of it, I know that kids get in trouble. But is there a culture problem down there? I mean, it's fair to ask, right? Are they, or is it when they bring in players that end up having problems, they don't, whatever it is they're doing to correct them isn't working? How's that? That's a fair way to look at it, right? The stuff with ETN, I know he just came to the program, but still it looks bad. It just brings a funk to your program when something like that happens. He hasn't played a down for Georgia yet. He's got more arrests than he's played downs for the Bulldogs. That's, a factual statement as well. Now, on the other hand, there are going to be people that are like comments like, who was it up here? Buck says he will get a plea deal and Kirby will sweep it under the rug. Okay, well, sometimes if there's nothing there, you do. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You just keep moving, right? I guess that's kind of the way to look at it. But in the end, something has to happen, right? I mean, you had the incident where allegedly, we don't know the truth here. None of us were there, but we were told, the Georgia football staffer was driving and someone ended up dying, including herself, which that to me is just strange. You're going to have this Georgia football staffer. She's going to drive guys around late at night and have an accident. That's just, I don't know, very weird. Jay says, is it Georgia's cultural problem if he had those same charges at Mississippi State? Well, under that logic, then it's ETN. His problems come from Florida. He was a drunk there beforehand, right? All right, let's welcome Sven to the program. Sven, what's up?
What's up, Rob? Rara had a lot of problems
Yeah, you think so?
at Mississippi State. A lot of problems. I know his whole history, and his career is over. This will end in jail for many moons. This is bad. This is really serious stuff.
Well, he caught 23 passes last year for 383 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He can play. He can play. He's a good wide receiver. He's a hell of a talent, but he's crazy. He's nuts.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You think he's crazy? And we were at you got the Mississippi State logo there, so I guess you're following along. All right,
I know Rara.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, hopefully he can sort it out.
I hope so.
Thank you, Sven. All right. Now, Not Just Rocks says domestic violence doesn't mean anyone got beat or even touched. He could have kicked a trash can in front of the kids, and that can be considered with domestic violence. With that said, okay, well, all I know is, according to the lieutenant from the police department, they are saying that domestic violence happened at 3:20 in the morning and children were on site. Those are facts according to the police. I'm not going to run around saying whatever. I'm not going to go around bashing the cops here. Okay? But that happened. But here's the thing. Even if we go back to what Jay said, well, that could have been his problems at Mississippi State. ETM may have been drinking when he was at Florida, and he gets down to Georgia, and maybe some of that stuff just happened there. But the thing is Kirby Smart now looks like a shepherd. Bring your tattered souls here, and I will keep you as part of my flock and make sure that you don't get in trouble anymore. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe Kirby Smart's trying to do what Nick Saban did with coaches, where coaches had issues, but they come down there, and I mean, he revitalized Lane Kiffin's career, revitalized several other, what was it, Butch Jones down there running his mouth at Tennessee about champions of life, and he goes to Alabama, and he's on the way to trying to resurrect his career. I'm just wondering, why is all of this in the amount of time that Georgia is all of these arrests and everything in just a short amount of time for Georgia? Are they missing something? And here, but with that, what can Kirby Smart do? You have what, 100 guys on, let's just say a round number, 117 to or 18 to 23-year-olds. Testosterone has to be at an all-time high. You expect that because it is a gladiator sport. Do you think that he's going to be able to control all of that all the time? I tell you no. Absolutely not. So there's that. Pagan Megan says, Georgia clearly needs more post-practice baptism and kid slides. That seems to be working for Clemson. Clemson does not have people that are dead, sir. In the same amount of time that Georgia had all this stuff, have we had where Clemson has the same amount of stuff in that time? So maybe it is working. Maybe Kirby can put on the priest robe and baptize some folks. Maybe that would help. There you go. Not just rocks. My comment sent before I was done. With that said, there does seem to be some issues with some players at Georgia. And I'm not saying that it's just a complete Georgia thing. I think it's a society thing right now. The wife, who is sitting across the room over here, says, why not start recruiting people that shouldn't be in college? Because then you'd have Ivy League teams. Biscuit says he's on the road in traffic. Well, can you watch this show and be on the road? Hopefully you're just listening, sir. Hopefully that's what you're doing. Lawnmower Man says Dabo would kick you off the team. Look, Dabo's had issues with players that done stupid shit in the past. That's true. Biscuit says we need to fix something. Okay. So yeah. I'm not going Dr. Phil on all of you. I'm just telling you that, do you think there's an issue right now with Georgia? There you go with that. All right. So if you want to talk about that this afternoon, we can. I'll give you the link for the show on that. The stuff with Malik Clark, Gamecock fans are upset by it. Jackpot put out a video on it, which I've not watched yet, but I'm sure he is not happy because it's 90 miles from Rock Hill to Columbia too. Pretty much the same thing. How could this guy want to go to Florida State instead of staying here? Well, you know. All right, there's the link there if you'd like to join us this afternoon. Do you think there is a culture problem at Georgia, and do you blame Kirby Smart for it? Do you think that there's something needs to be done? I don't know. I don't know what the cure is here. I do know that as far as right now, I mean, Georgia's the best football program in the country as far as wins and losses go and everything else. Pagan Megan says the issue is we've lost a regular season game in 3 years, and anything that does go wrong is going to attract more attention. So you think the spotlight at Georgia is bigger than everywhere else? Okay. All right. Well, there you go with that. Some other stuff from yesterday. For you Clemson fans, Cade Klubnik has gained 20 pounds. 20 pounds. And, the idea of him running around and being skinny as all get out as he was last year, supposedly that's put to bed. The other question that we have is that have we gotten the 6 inches between his ears to work? And what I mean by that is when you're told to hand off the ball against Miami, are you going to hand the ball off or are you going to try to be a cowboy? It's a fair statement, right? Also, there were several comments you made yesterday involving Clemson where the talk was about the young wide receiving core coming in, Wesco, and the other name slips my mind here. Here's the thing. If you are thinking that you are going to rely on 2 freshman wide receivers, and that's going to fix the problems that you've had at Clemson as far as the wide receiving core, you're staring 8-4 in the face. Clemson fans can get upset with me if they want, but in the end, you build your program off of guys that have been there a little bit. Yes, freshmen can come in and make big moves. I give you that. But in the end, you win based upon the guys that you've got there, and you've built them into being good players. So you better hope that Toby Brown and Antonio Williams have stepped their game up. And Briggenstool, the big tight end, you hope that he continues to make progress. And these freshmen come in and they can help implement and make you somewhat better. But what was it Klubnik said yesterday? They asked him about Wesco, and he goes, "You'll see." And he gave him kind of like, "You'll see." Like, ooh, this is something big. It's like, okay. Okay. What a mess. What a mess. Big Bunny Ross says, I'm driving a 100 horsepower tractor having an old fashioned. I could see Big Barney Ross doing that. Driving around in a big ass tractor with an old fashioned with like a gun rack built on the back of it so he could stop and shoot something on that damn on that compound he's got up there where he stands on the porch. His poor wife. This idiot goes out on Sunday mornings and just starts shooting guns, calling it a Kentucky wake-up call. That wife has to put up with that. Poor lady. Anyway, Big Barney Ross's commentary on bourbon is on our webpage, robertkaleshow.com. Be sure to go and check that out. Schvinn says that Clemson lives and dies with Klubnik. Well, yeah, they're stuck with Klubnik now. That's the guy. That's the guy. We'll see how it works. You want to know the best part about this, though, is that we're going to know game 1 if Clemson has made the moves or not. If Klubnik has made the moves or not. We'll know game 1 because you got a hell of a measuring stick with the Georgia Bulldogs there. Tim says 8-4 will just continue the slow downward spiral to the Hatfield West decade. I mean, yeah. Well, Hatfield went 9-2, if I remember correctly, and he was asked to leave. Apparently, he pissed people off up there. I don't know about all that. I am not going to go to the game. No, I will not be going to the Georgia Clemson game. I will probably go to Callaway's to watch it there, or most likely probably watch it here at the house. That's probably what I'm going to do. So I don't want to battle the traffic and everything else. I don't want to deal with all that. I mean, to be honest with you. So, all right. Anyway, there's the list of stuff that I had for today's program. If you would like to join, I'll put the link out one more time. What was the other thing? North Carolina, their contingent up there at ACC kickoff yesterday. They were happy. They're happier than all get out about what they've got coming back. I don't know if North Carolina is going to be as good as everybody says. Anyway, we shall see. But they came in and they looked polished. Let's just leave it at that. So if you want to comment too about the scholarship thing, I think that's a big college football story. I also think the idea that you can have as many coaches as you want on the field, that's going to be a big deal because there's going to be some programs are going to put them out there and put extra coaches here and there and everywhere else. Maybe that's how you can implement, I guess, better stuff to keep guys off of the things that have been happening at Georgia and everywhere else too. Maybe extra police. Maybe that's the way to do it. Jay says he's got the perfect tailgate set up. Yeah, I'll debate on that. I mean, tickets for that thing, I'm sure, are absurd. You know, I don't know if I want to try to go to all that. I mean, I would come and tailgate with you. That's for damn sure. Get the wife to make some spinach dip or something, but I don't know. Let's see here. Tim says ESPN ABC likes to pump up the games. Clemson UGA is a statement Saturday for Clemson, not UGA. Well, I guess I could see where you're coming from with that, because Georgia fans, I think, or Georgia folks in general, I think, would rather have. They don't want to lose any game, but if you told them, look, you're going to lose either to Georgia or Clemson, they'd rather lose to Clemson. I mean, if you're going to lose to either Alabama or Clemson this season, they'd rather lose to Clemson, I would think. I don't know. To be honest with you, that is the game there for Clemson, because it's the jump off point there. What I mean by that is that if you win that game, the people down at Florida State are going to be like, oh shit, we got to deal with those guys coming here. The rest of the ACC's on notice anyway. What do you got? Virginia Tech after that? If Clemson beats Georgia, I mean, if you're a Clemson fan, you got to be thinking they're going 12-0. That's how big and important that game is. There will also be talkers too. And what I mean by that is that the next week, I think Clemson's got App State. App State's one of those G5 teams that thinks that if they can win some games, they're going to be in the mix to get that G5 spot. I think I read something where like they have like the 5th best odds to get into the playoff among the G5 folks. You think they wouldn't come into Clemson thinking, I mean, these guys just lost. We could beat them. Why not? What I mean by that is the season could go off the rails quick if Clemson goes and gets popped by 20 by Georgia. Just saying. That's how big that game is. I personally think that Georgia's going to win the game, simply because it comes down to quarterbacks, in my opinion, and Georgia's got, offensive line and quarterbacks. Clemson's offensive line, I think, is going to be good, but it's not going to be as good as Georgia's is. The Clemson defense is going to be stout. Talked with Barrett Carter yesterday. Guy's going to be an All-American linebacker. He said he's confident in the guys that are out there, which is what you'd expect him to say. The Clemson defense will be the toughest defense they played all season. I'll continue to say that. I know that, you'll have the whole SEC contingent of, this is, our SEC stuff, and they're, I don't want to hear it. The toughest defense you'll play this season is in week 1. So there you go. Peg and Megan says, Barrett who? Fair enough. You know who he is. Your coaches got upset because they thought he was coming there, and he didn't. And I actually asked him about that yesterday. He goes, man, I broke a lot of hearts in Georgia. That's what he told me yesterday. So there's that. So Brown's going to break hearts too. Apparently he's making some plays. We'll find out. All of it's going to come to fruition because we're all on the field here shortly. All right, final call for calls this afternoon as we get set up here. Callaway's Pick'em Challenge is back. We will have the link for that coming up shortly. Jackpot and I were kicking around an idea about adding over and under to that. Do you guys like that? We'll put up a poll for that later on. So Jay says Kirby will eat the clock after running the ball and after a lead, wanting to show a little bit to Alabama. What is that? And I'm asking this, and I'm not trying to be a dope here, but do you think that means that covering the spread may be a touch high? 13.5 points is a lot of points. Kirby Smart wants to run the ball and just control the clock. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. I personally think that it's a big line, but I think Georgia can cover it. They have the potential to do it. So there's that. They won't have Ra Thomas, though. I don't know if that'll hurt them that much or not. I guess we'll find out. All right, there's the link if you'd like to join the program this afternoon. As always, we appreciate you guys so much. I know you've been following Jackpot. He's been on vacation. Full show on Sunday night. Oh yeah, I want to post the interview that we had yesterday. We'll see how that goes. And obviously, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. So there's that. If you'd like to interact with me there. Jay says UGA by 10. All right. All right. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later on.